Hi, Mahima here from Goasnow Academy. I hope you all are doing good. Today we will study chapter number 6 named as tissues. Here in this chapter, we will study about the tissue, its structure and all. In the last chapter, we recall the things that all the living organisms are made up of cells. We have studied about the cell, its structure and all. And in unicellular organism, a single cell perform all the basic function. For example, amoeba, a single cell carries the movement, intake of food, gaseous exchange of excision, means in short the cells and their functions. But in a multicellular, so this is about the unicellular cell. But in a multicellular organisms, there are million of cells, and most of these cells are specialized to carry out the specific function. Okay, when we talk about the unicellular, okay, they were doing the one work, the gaseous section, exchange, and the exertion. But for the multicellular, they are made up of a multiple, like a million of cells, okay, and they are having a specific function. Each specialized function is taken by the different group of cells. Since these cells carry only a particular function, they are not very efficient. In human beings, muscle cell contract and relax to cause a more movement, and nerve cell carry messages from the blood to transfer to the oxygen. So here, when we particularly talk about the human beings, so here the muscle cells contract and relax to cause the movement. Muscle cells are working just for the movement and all. There, when we talk about the nerve cells, they are just simply carrying the messages from the blood to transport the oxygen, food, hormones, and the waste material, and so on. So nerve cells are working on this basis. But in the plant's vascular tissues and conduct a food and a water from one part to another of the plant to other parts. So the multicellular organisms show the division of a labor. Cells specializing in a one function are often grouped together in the body, and on the basis of their functionality, they are simply working. Okay, this is all about the multicellular cells. Also, this means that the particular functions is carried out by the cluster of the cells at the definite place of the body. It's not about only one cell. The cluster of cells are present in the body, and they are just simply carrying a different or particular function. So this cluster of the cells called a tissue. Here we have studied this multicellular cell and the singular cell, but this particular cluster of the cells is known as tissue over here, and it is arranged and designed to as a give highest possible efficiency of the function. Okay, when simply the cluster of a cells is known as tissue, and it is arranged in a such a way that the highest possible efficiency of function is being there. And also the blood, phloem, and muscles are the examples of the tissues. When we talk about the example of tissues and phloem, muscle, and these are the examples. A group of cells that are a similar in a structure and or work together to achieve a particular function to form a tissue. Now, are the plant and the animal made of the same type of tissue? Now, the question is, we have studied about the plant cells and animal cells, but are these plant and animals made up of the from same type of tissues? So, let us compare their structure and the function. Do the plant and the animals have the same structure? Do they both perform the similar function? So, we can conclude this with the help of their structure, work, and all. So, firstly, there are a noticeable difference between the two. But what we'll have to like notice the difference first. So here the plants are the stationary or a fixed, okay, and they do not move. So since they to be upright and they have a large quantity of supportive tissue, the supportive tissue are generally has a dead cells because there is a no movement in the plants. Okay. Animals, on the other hand, have a more surge of food, mates, and the shelter. They consume more energy as a compared to the plants, and most of the tissues they contain are a living. So here, this is the major difference. When we talk about the plant cell, they are not moving; they are simply in the one place, and they do most of the cells in them is dead. Whether in the animals, they are they search for the food, they move the they need shelter, they consume more energy in comparison of plant. So, in compared to the plant, the most of the tissues contained in the animal cell is living. Okay, now another difference between the animal and the plant cell in the pattern of a growth. The plant is the growth in the plants is limited to certain region. Okay, which is not so in the animals. There are some tissues in the plant are divided throughout their life. These tissues are localized in the central region based on the dividing capacity of the tissues. Various plants can be classified as growing to be the metrimistic tissues and the permanent tissues. So now when we talk about the plant, they have some particular specific growth and limited growth. Okay, the root is there, the central growth, like, but it's not possible in the animal. Cells growth in the animals is a more uniform. So they are no such a demarcation of a dividing a non-dividing region in the. So it's not like that branches are there in the animals. So simply in the branch are having is a different pattern of growth where in comparison of animal they are not having a same or we can say dividing region kind of growth here. Okay, now the structural organization of the organs and organ system is far from this specialized and localized in the complex animal than in every complex plant. Now the fundamental difference reflect the different modes of a life pursued. These two major groups of the organisms, particularly their different feeding methods. Also, they are differently adapted from the sedentary existence on one hand, plant and animal locomotion on the other, animals contributing to the difference of the organ system design. Now here we have concluded they have their totally own own way of growth, own way of feeding themselves. Also, it is with the reference to these complex animals and the plant bodies that we will talk about the concept tissue and more in some detail. So here we have simply differentiate both the cells. We'll more deeply study now. Firstly, we'll study about the plant tissues. Okay, so in the plant tissues, firstly we'll study the meristematic tissue. What is meristematic tissue? One activity is there. We'll understand this with the help of this activity. You'll have to take the 2 glass jars and fill with the water. Now take the 2 onion bulbs and place it on the each jar like this. Okay, and observe the growth of the roots in the bulb for the few days. You'll have to measure the length of the roots on the day 1, day 2, and the day 3. On the day 4, cut the roots of the tip of onion or bulb in the jar 2 about the 1 centimeter from the jar 2. And after this, observe the growth of the root in the jars. Measure their length each day 5 more days and record the observation in the table like this. So here you will get to know that what exactly the growth is. Like you will notice day to day growth in both the jars 1 and 2, and so the growth of the plant occurs only in a certain specific region. Okay, this is what we have read. Now this is because the dividing tissue are also known as a meristematic tissue. So this particular dividing tissues is known as a meristematic tissue and is located only in these points. So depending on the region where they are present, meristematic tissues are classified as a apical, lateral and a intercalary. So new cells produced by the meristem and initially like those meristem itself, but as they growth mature, their characteristics slowly changes and they become a differentiated as a component of a other tissue. So see here, this is a diagram, the location of a meristematic tissue in the plant body. This this particular top part is the apical meristem. Here this in between is the intercalary meristem, and this is the lateral, okay, down parts, downside. Now the apical meristem is present at the growing tips of the stem, and the roots increases the length of the stem and the root, the girth of a stem or the root increases due to the lateral meristem or cambium. Intercalary meristem seen in the some plants and is located near the node. Now the cells of a meristematic tissue are very active and they have a dense cytoplasm and the cellulose walls and the prominent nuclei and the lac vacuoles. Can we think about the lac of vacuoles? You may also refer to the function. So simply here they have classified it in 3 parts and explain the functions. Now the permanent tissues. What are the permanent tissues? So what happens to the cell formed by the meristematic tissue? Like the cells which are formed by this meristematic tissues, what happened with it? So they take up a specific roles and lose the ability to divide. As a result, they form a permanent tissue. When they are not not able to divide themselves, then they will form a permanent tissue. This process of taking up is a permanent shape and the size function is called as a differentiation. Differentiation leads to be the development of the various type of permanent tissue. One part where it is not divisible, it is taking its permanent shape and size, and this particular thing is known as differentiation. And we can say that differentiation leads to be the development of a various type of permanent tissues. Okay, so we have one more activity on basis of that. You will have to take a plant stem and with the help of your teacher, you just cut into the very thin slices of the section. Now stain the slices with with the saffron and place neatly cut section on the slide and put the drop of a glycerin. Cover the now cover with the cover slip and observe the under microscope. Observe the various type of cells and the arrangement. So compare it with the figure. We'll just compare it with this figure. Now answer the following: are the cells similar in the structures? When you observe it, you will have to answer it like whether they are similar in structure. Can we think that the reason why there would be so many type of cells? So this is what you will observe for the permanent tissue. Now the simple permanent tissues. A few layers of a cell beneath epidermis are generally in a simple permanent tissue. Like parenchyma is the most common type of a permanent tissue. It consists relatively unspecialized cell within the cell walls. Okay. Also, they are living cells and they are usually loosely arranged, thus, the large spaces between the cells and intercellular spaces are found in this tissue. This tissue generally stores the food. Okay, so from whatever you are going to observe, you can simply observe this structure whether you're getting this on. So, this particular upper layer, outer layer is the epidermis, then coricillum, then pericellum, phloem, xylem, vascular bundle. This is the section of the stem. Okay, now, in some situation, it contains the chlorophyll and perform the photosynthesis, and then then it is called a chlorochima. Okay, when it is doing the photosynthesis process. In aquatic and plants, large air cavities are present in the parenchyma to help the float. So, such parenchyma is type of is known as a parenchyma. Okay, the flexibility in the plants is due to another permanent tissue. Then a collenchyma, it allows the bending of various particular plant like tendril in the stem of the climbo without breaking. It also provides the mechanical support. We can find the tissue leaf or the stalk become the epidermis. So this cell of the tissue living elongated and irregularly at the corners. They are very little cellular space. So this is all about the permanent tissues and the simple permanent tissues and their different functions which we have observed under the microscope. Now there are the very simple tissues like see like how the intercellular space is there. A is parenchyma, second is collenchyma, second is scadyma, and then it is a transverse section, then it is in the longitudinal section, how it will look like. Now, yet another type of permanent tissue is a scadyma. It is the tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. We have thin as husk of a coconut. It is made up of a mites and tissue. This cell of tissue are the dead. They are long and narrow and walls are the wig like this. Okay, and often these walls show the thick and internal space in the cell. So this tissue is present in the stem and around the vascular bundle in the veins of the leaves and the hand covering in the seed need. It provides the strength to the plant parts. Now, one more activity is there. You'll have to take a freshly plucked leaf of a reo and stretch the bricks in applying pressure. While breaking it in the stretch gently, let some peel of the skin project out of the cut. Remove the peel and put the petri dish in the water and add the few drops of a safranin and wait for the couple of minutes and then transfer it to the slide and gently place or cover it and observe under the microscope. So these are the microscopic studies. When you watch these all things under the microscope, you will get to know the different structure of the cells. What you observe outermost layer cell is called epidermis. So the epidermis is usually made up of a single layer of the cell. In some of the plant living and the dry habits, so epidermis may thicker at the outermost layer. Okay, and since protection against the water is less critical, the entire surface of the plant that has an outer covering epidermis, it protect all the part of the plant. Epidermis cell are on the aerial part of the plant and often the secret waxy water and resistant to be the layer of the outer surface. So this is what the work of epidermis. The aids of protection against the loss of the water for mechanical injury is envisioned for the parasitic fungi since it has a protective role to play cells and epidermis tissue from the continuous layer without intercellular spaces. Most epidermal cells are relative that often their outer and walls are the thicker than the inner wall. We can observe the small pores here and there are epidermis of the leaf. So these pores are called as stomata. The stomata which are present, they are particularly known as, these pores are known as a stomata and the stomata are enclosed by the two kidney shaped cells and called as a Gott cells. And like they are necessary to be exchanging the gases. The function is just to exchange the gases with the atmospheric and transpiration. Actually, the transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor and also takes a place in stomata. So, now recall which gas required photosynthesis. So, this was all the process about the photosynthesis and all. Now, the epidermis cells of the roots whose function is the water absorption and commonly wear long hair like a parts that are that greatly increase the total absorption of the surface area. Now, in some plants, like a desert plant, epidermis has thicky, waxy coating with the cutin, chemical substance with a waterproof quality in the outer surface. So, it depends on the nature, it depends on the surrounding. It was about the desert plants. Now, is the outer layer of the branch of tree differ from the outer layer of the young stem? Now, as a plant grow older, the outer protective tissue undergoes to be the certain changes. A strip secondary meridism located in the cortex form and layer cells which constitute of the cork cells and of the dead and are compactly arranged without intercellular space. They also have a substance called as a sovereign in their walls, and that makes to be impervious to the gases and the water. So, see, this is how the protective issue looks like. These are the cork cells. These are the ruptured epidermis, this outermost layer. Okay. Now, we'll study the complex permanent tissue. We have studied the simple one. Now, the complex one. So, the different type of tissues we have discussed until we have now made a one type of cell which looks like each other. Such tissues are a simple permanent tissue. Now, yet another type of permanent tissue, it's a complex tissue. Complex tissue are made up of more than one type of cell. It was like simple. Now we'll have a more than one type of cell, and all the cells are coordinated to perform the common function. Xylem and a phloem are the examples of the complex. The example for the complex one is xylem and the phloem, and they both conducting the tissue and constitute the vascular bundle, and vascular tissue is a distinctive feature of a complex plant, and one that has made to be the possible their survival in the terrestrial environment. So in the figure 6.3, which we have like seen that it's showing the section of the stem, and also you can see the different type of cells in the vascular bundle. So xylem consists of a tracheids and vessel xylem and parenchyma, like, and the xylem fiber tracheids and the vessels have a thick walls and the many dead cells where nature. We are talking about the more dead cells because as we know that in the plant cells, most of the cells present in the other dead one only. Okay. Now the phloem, when we talk about the phloem, it's made up of 5 type of cells. It is a sieve cell, sieve tubes, companion cell, phloem fibers, and then phloem parenchyma. So sieve tubes are the tubular with the perforated walls. Phloem transport food from the leaves to other part to the plant, and then expected phloem fibers to the other cells of the living cell. So this is how the trachea look. This is how the vessel looks, and then this is how the xylem parenchyma look. So this is about the complex permanent tissue and the types coming under the complex permanent tissue, how it looks like. So the types of the permanent tissue. Okay. Now animal tissue. So this is all about the plant tissues, how they work, their function, their ties, the dead cells, and about the cell, their structure and all. Now next we will move forward with the animal tissues. When we breathe, we actually feel like a movement of our chest. Animal tissues are something which we can feel it. Okay, how do these bodies part move? So for this we have a specialized cell called as a muscle cell. For this, firstly, this for the movement and all, we have a cell which is known as a muscle cell. The contraction, the relaxation of these cells result a movement. Okay. So location of a muscle fibers, where actually it is located. So when we talk about the stomach, so here see it is located in this particular type. Smooth muscle fibers, location of muscle fibers like this. This is the nucleus. This is the smooth muscle fiber. Now, during the breathing, we inhale oxygen. Where does the oxygen go? It is absorbed by the lungs and then transferred to the whole body of the cells and then through the blood. Why would cells need oxygen? The functions of the mitochondria we studied earlier provide a clue to this caution. Blood flows carries the various substance from one part of the body to the another. For example, it carries the oxygen and the food to all the cells. It is collect the waste from the all part of the body and carries the liver, kidney from the disposal. Now, blood and the muscles are both example of the tissue found in our body. When we talk about the animal body or like in the human body, there is a blood and the cells. They both are the best examples for the tissue found in our body. And on the basis of the function they perform, we can think different type of the animal tissue such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and a nervous tissue. Blood is the type of a connective tissue and a muscles form a muscular tissue. Blood and this muscles. Okay, now we'll study about the epithelial tissue. So the covering of the protective tissue in the animal body is a epithelial tissue. Its epithelium covers the most organ and the cavities within the body. It also forms the barrier to keep a different body system separate. Okay, it is just keeping the separation between the two body parts. Okay. Now, body organs. The skin of the lining mouth and the lining of the blood vessels, like a lung, alveoli, kidney tubules, are made up of the epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissues cells are tightly pegged and form a continuous sheet. They have only a small amount of cementing material between them and almost no intercellular spaces. Obviously, anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer and epithelium. So, as a result, the permeability of our cells, various epithelia play an important role in the regulating exchange of material, the body and external environment, and also between different part of the body. Regardless of the type, epithelium is usually separated from our underlying tissue and extracellular fibrous base. For example, basement membrane. So this is all about the epithelial tissue. It is simply just dividing the cells, dividing the organs and all. It's a kind of layer which is used to dividing. Okay, so different epithelia shows the different structure of the correlate with their unique function. For example, in the cell lining blood and the vessels, lung, alveoli, where the transportation of the substance occurs and through the selectivity permeable surface, and they are the simple flat kind. So, of a epithelium, and this is called a simple squamous epithelium, or a squama means skate. So, see, this is how the squamous look like. Then the stratified squamous means the layer and layer and layer. And this is a cuboidal, and this is the one, it looks like a columbular, okay, or the silated. So, these are the different type of epithelial tissues. Now, the simple squamous epithelials are extremely thin and the flat and form a dilated lining, and these oesophagus and the lining of the mouth and covered with the squamous and epithelium. The skin that protects the body and also made the squamous epithelium. Skin is the epithelial and cells are arranged in many layers, prevent wear and tear. Since they are arranged in the pattern of the layers, their epithelium is called as stratified squamous and epithelium. So this is all about this first squamous. Okay. Now when where the absorption and the secretion occurs as the inner lining of the intestine, tall epithelial cells are present. These columnar or meaning pillar-like epithelial facilitates movement. So simply they have explain these structure, how the stratified squamous looks like, where it is situated, where it's working. And now when we talk about the cuboidal one, so cuboidal epithelium with the cube shaped cells forms the lining of a kidney, okay, and tubules and ducts to the salivary gland, and where it provides the mechanical support. And epithelial cells often acquire additional specialization as a gland cell, and then that can secrete substance at epithelial surface. Sometimes the portion of epithelial tissues folds inward and a multicellular gland, and this is a glandular epithelium. Now the connective tissue. Okay. Another one is the connective tissue. So blood is a type of the connective tissue. Why would it is called as a connective tissue? A clue is provided in the introduction of this chapter. That now let us look this type of tissue in the same more detail. The cell connective tissue are loosely spaced and embedded in an intercellular matrix. The matrix may be like a jelly, fluid, dense, or the rigid. The nature of the matrix different concordance with the function and the connective tissue. So we'll get to know more about it. With the help of this activity, we'll have to take the drop of the blood on the slide and observe the different cell present in under the microscope. So what you will observe, see here the different type of blood capsules, cytoplasm, nucleus, basophil, eosinophil, neutrophil, glycophilate, monocyte, and the placocytes. Okay. So this is what you will observe, the type of connective tissue, type of bloods first, second one is the compact bone, C is the hyaline cartilage, D is the alveolar tissue, and this fifth one is the adipose tissue. Okay, how they looks like, this structure and all. Now, blood has a fluid liquid matrix that is called a plasma. Okay, and in which the red blood capsules, which means RBCs, and the white blood capsules, which is known as WBCs, are the platelets that is suspended. So, the plasma contains a protein, salt, and the hormones. So, blood flows in the transport gases, digested form, and hormones, and waste material of to the different parts of the body. So, bone is the another example of a connective tissue. It forms the framework that supports the body. It also anchors the muscles and supports the main organ of the body. It is supportive and a non-flexible tissue. What would be the advantages of these properties for the bone function? So bone cells are the embedded in the hard matrix that is composed of a calcium and a phosphorus compound. So two bones can be connected to each other with the another type of the connectivity tissue, which is known as a ligament. Okay, when we particular like for the blood cells, it was like a plasma and all. But when we talk about the bones, so there will be the ligament, and the tissue is very elastic and it has a considerable strength. So ligament contain a very little matrix and connect bone with the bones. Tendons connect to with the muscles, bones, and another type of a connective tissue. So tendons are the fibrous tissue with the great strength but limited flexibility. Now another type of connective tissue is the cartilage, has a widely spaced cells. This particular connective tissue is the cartilage and it has a widely spaced cell. The solid matrix is a composed of the protein and the sugar. Cartilage smoothen and bone surfaces at the joint is also present in the nose, ear, and the trachea and the larynx. So we can fold the cartilage of the ears, but we cannot bend the bones in our arms. So this is how the two tissues are different. Tissues and their functions. So alveolar connective tissue is found in the skin and the muscles around the vessels and nerve and bone marrow, and it fills the space inside organ and supportive internal organ and helps to repair the tissue. Where at the fat stored in our body, fat storing adipose tissue is found in the skin and between the internal organs. So these cells are the tissue filled with the fat globules and storage fat inlets act in the insulator. So this is all about the tissues and the connective tissues. Now we'll study the muscular tissue. So muscular tissue consists of elongated cells and these are called the muscular fibers. The tissue is responsible for the movement in our body. Muscle contain the special protein which is known as a contractile protein, which contract the relax and cause the movement. Okay, so now we can move some muscles by the consciousness, by the conscious will. Muscles present in our limbs and move when we want to and stop when we decide to, right? Such muscles are called as the voluntary muscles. So these muscles are also called as the skeletal muscles and they are attached to be the bones and have and help in the body movement. This is the major work, their function. Under the microscope, these muscles show the alternate light and a dark band of the striation when they strain appropriately and are result. They are also called as the striated muscles. So the cells of the tissue long and the cylindrical, unbranched, and the multinucleate and having a multinuclei. So that's why this is known as a multinucleate. So these all are the under microscope vision, how we can see the muscles tissue. And the movement of the food in the alimentary canal or a contraction and the relaxation of the body vessels are the involuntary movement. We cannot really start them or stop them simply wanting to do so. Smooth muscles or involuntary muscles control such movement. There are also called in the iris of the eye, uterus, and in the bronchi of the lung. So these are the cells long with a pointed end, spindle shaped actually, and a uninucleate and having a single nucleus. Like we have studied the multinuclear, but here they are having a single nucleus. Okay, and they're also called as a unstriated muscles. And the muscles of the heart show the rhythmic contraction and the relaxation throughout the life. The involuntary muscles are called as a cardiac muscles. Heart muscles are the cylindrical, branched, and nucleate. So this is we have is how the muscles worked in the different places. Okay, about the eyes, about the nose, about the brain, about the heart, and all. Now the nervous tissue. Another important topic is the nervous tissue. All the cell forces the ability to respond to stimuli. However, cells of the nervous tissue are highly specified to being stimulated and transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another. Okay, and the brain, spinal cord, and the nerve all are composed to be the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is a very important one, okay, because it is just simply connected with the brain to spinal cord and sending the signal. So the cell in which the tissue is called a nerve cells or the neurons. A neuron consists of a cell body with the nucleus and a cytoplasm from which the long hair like a part arises. So usually each neuron has a single long part and form in the fibrae which is called a axon. This is single fibrate is known as a axon and have a many short branched part processes called as a dendrites. Okay. This is how the neuron looks like. A unit for the nervous tissue, nucleus, dendrite, axon, never-ending thing, and this is the cell body. Okay, and many nerve fibers bound together by the connective tissue and make up to be the nerve. Now, the signal that passes along the nerve fiber is called a nerve impulse, and the nerve impulse from the nerve endings is transmitted to the dendrites of the next level cell. Nerve impulse allow us to move our muscles when we want to. The functional combination of the nerve and the muscle tissue is the fundamental most animals. So the combination of the enables to be the rapidly response to be the stimuli. So this is how the working of this nuclear the working of the nervous tissue is, how it works, and how it is playing an important role for the from the spinal cord to cell to the brain and all. Okay, so now what we have studied in this chapter is we have studied the tissue, its group of the cells, similar structure and the function, plant tissue, animal tissue, the two types, the meromestic and the permanent. Meromestic tissue is dividing tissue growing the region of the plant. Permanent tissue are derived to be the meromestic tissue, and once they lose the ability to divide, they classified as a simple complex tissue. Barycema, collenchyma, and scleroderma, three type of simple tissue. Animal tissue can be apical, connective, muscular, and the nervous tissues are like separately. We have studied about the apical, connective, muscular, and the nervous tissue as well. Depending on the shape and the shape and the function of the apical tissue is classified to the squamous, colloidal, columnar, highlighted, and a granular. Also, the different type of a connective tissue in our body include areolar tissue, adipose tissue, tendon, ligament, cartilage in the blood. Their work, their functions, striated, unstriated, and the cardiac, and three type of muscle tissue, nervous tissue made up of the neurons that receives to conduct the impulse. So this is all about the chapter tissue. But still you have any doubts or you want a teacher to guide you personally, you can join our one-to-one live tutoring to at Guasma Academy. We will help you to learn every concept with the ease. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next chapter. Thank you very much.